It's okay, sorry.
Like they said, I'm Caleb Weichenbrock. So if you would have asked me a few years ago who I was, I would have said a soccer player, strong, energetic, and faith-filled. But if you would have asked me last year who I was, I wouldn't have known. I grew up in a very loving Roman Catholic family where my parents would highly emphasize going to Mass every Sunday, going to daily Mass as often as we could, and praying every morning and night as a family. They got me involved in youth group, sports, and altar serving. I found myself at a young age falling in love with our religion. Yes, of course, I still had little boy syndrome where I'd see a pretty girl and I would want to look extra holy. But altogether, I was truly growing in my faith. When I was 10, I developed a habit of praying 10 minutes every night before I went to bed. I would serve funerals, serve every daily Mass that I was able to, and get involved in every youth group, in every youth event that I could. Like sports, for instance, I'm a soccer player, and I found a lot of my identity in the sport and in athleticism. But as much as I loved the sport, I knew what I was rooted in, and that was Christ. I always gave everything to Him. I always felt Him so deeply in my heart. I felt Him at every Eucharistic procession. I felt Him at every Mass. I was kind of on a heyday with Christ. I had trials here and there, like losing one of my good friends, Miss Anita, and losing my baby cousin Jace. But those trials just brought me to love more and to value others more. I never felt lost during those times, but that was until my junior year of high school. This past year on my 17th birthday, I unfortunately developed a stomach ailment where I couldn't eat right, I couldn't play the sports that I loved and identified myself with, and I lost a lot of weight, and this was really hard for me. I never understood why I developed these conditions, but I was still trying to be strong, but I could just feel myself falling more and more into despair and feeling more and more lost. Well, March came around, and I was really looking forward to this month because I had two big retreats coming up. One of them was just a mini retreat going to the seminary, and another was going on our youth group mission trip. But while I was on the mini retreat at the seminary, tragedy struck and my grandpa, who was only 65, tragically died. I was overwhelmed with emotion and sorrow because my grandpa and I were very close. And I didn't understand why God was allowing this to happen to me, because I was on this retreat discerning His will for my life. A week later, at my grandpa's funeral, my stomach ailment got so bad that I couldn't stand up. So I was rushed to the hospital, and because of this, I was unable to be home with my family to grieve the loss. And also because of this, I wasn't able to go on the mission trip. I fell into a depression where I couldn't feel, I couldn't work out, I couldn't eat right, and I just felt like God was stripping everything from me. And then in a moment of desolation, I just cried out to God and asked Him, why? Why have you taken these things from me? You've taken away my health, you've taken away these trips, and you've taken away my athleticism. You've taken away my grandpa and even my feelings, and all these things that I wish to glorify you. And I just kept asking why. And these answers didn't come until many months later while I was on a retreat called NCYC, which hopefully you guys will be able to go on someday. And this weekend on the retreat, I didn't want to be there. I was scared to hear the Lord's voice, and I was scared just to be on the retreat. I felt alone seeking answers to all these things, But when I was in adoration, the Lord came to me in the silence of my soul. And in the midst of that silence, he answered my questions that I had. And he said, I've taken away your health and gave you pain that you may offer it up for your grandpa. For it was his time to come home. I've taken away your athleticism so you do not use running or soccer as a coping mechanism to getting over his loss. I've taken away your feeling so you do not rely on the feelings I give you, but you rely solely on me. Then I've stripped you of what you identify yourself with, so that you only identify yourself with me. You see, the Lord didn't come in this big booming voice, and he didn't speak to me verbally, but he gave me the thoughts through my head and gave me peace with those. You see, I felt lost in my identity because my identity was being athletic, was being energetic, and feeling the joys and comfort of the world. But God found me in the midst of suffering. My brothers and sisters, through all this pain and suffering, God has blessed me. He has answered all the questions that I needed to know, and he has directed me on the path that he wants me to go. Life following Christ is not easy. You may feel pain. You may have to suffer, but it is so worth it. You may not have the nicest things. You may not have the most money. You may not be the most popular or the most athletic. But what is it worth that you gain the whole world and lose your soul? The Lord gives and he takes away, but blessed be his name. If you are fully open to him and fully open to being found, God will prune the things in your life that is keeping you from him. Don't rely on the feelings that God brings you or the comforts that to have faith in the Lord, but believe in him through the trials and through the uncomfortable. Because and through the love that he shows us. And God loves you with such a love that he died for each and every one of you as an individual. Let's become saints. Thank you.